podcast. Today, we are covering all the movie news of the week, of the month. You name it, we are going to cover it. So let's jump right into this. Noah, how you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. I'd say we get started with the story behind the Johnny Depp situation. Cam, you want to run us through what exactly is going on here?
Yeah, so Johnny Depp just lost his libel case against Amber Heard. So there's a whole situation where he claims that he abused her, and then it's a whole thing of she abused him. That's his argument. It's a whole thing. We're not going to get into it. What we are going to get into is the fact that Warner Brothers gave him the boot. He's no longer Grindelwald. He brought out a news release just the other day covering it, confirming it, that the fact that he is done. So I'm just going to read that really quickly. So, in light of recent events, I would like to make the following short statement. Firstly, I'd like to thank everybody who's giving me who's gifted me with their support and loyalty. I've been humbled and moved by many messages of love, concern, particularly over the last few days. He's talking about his libel case and losing it. Secondly, I wish to let you know that I have been asked to resign from Warner Brothers for my role as Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts, and I have respected and agreed to that request. Finally, I wish to say this. The surreal judgment of the court in UK will not change my fight to tell the truth, and I confirm that I plan to appeal. So he's going to appeal the case, try to get a different outcome, and he's going to try to win. My resolve remains strong, and I intend to prove that the allegations against me are false. My life and career will not be defined by this moment in time. Thank you for reading. Sincerely, Johnny Depp, and he signs it at the end. It's just sad because I loved him as Captain Jack Sparrow for 5 movies. He gifted us with an amazing character, eh?
Yeah, that is correct. But honestly, if they do end up reiterating the Pirates of the Caribbean series, personally for me, I want to see Keanu Reeves put on a pirate hat.
You want to see Keanu Reeves get into
Yes,
it?
I want to see John Wick become a pirate. At least give it a try, because him and Johnny Depp have got kind of the same hair.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves can easily shave his goatee to make it look like the same. You know what I mean? I think Keanu Reeves could pull it off to a certain extent.
No, but Disney greenlit a new Pirates of the Caribbean reboot starring Karen Gillan, the chick who played Nebula. So she's going to be the forefront. So we can't get Keanu Reeves, unfortunately, but how funny would it be if someone killed his parrot and then all of a sudden he's gonna go on a rampage. But back to it. This gentleman here, Mads Mikkelsen, you might know him from Doctor Strange. He played the bad guy. His name is slipping. Caecilius. Yes, that's it right there.
Yeah,
wow.
that's it.
Couple of syllables in there. A little more vowels than I am usually. Anyway. Mads Mikkelsen is in talks to replace Johnny Depp as Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts trilogy. Next up, Noah, why don't you walk us through what's happening here with Amber Heard?
All right, so we all know Amber Heard from the Aquaman movie. She was kind of like the side character, always following Arthur around, kind of getting him back in the water type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, love interest kind of deal.
Love interest, partner in crime, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But recently, there has been some sort of signing with over 900K people wanting this girl out of Aquaman 2.
Wow.
Which is crazy to me, because I didn't think she was that bad in the movie. I just feel like they could have picked someone better, or she herself could have done something better. So, Kev, who do you think could replace her in this role?
Oh, replacing Amber Heard. I personally, I really have no idea. I think the love interest thing in movies is kind of they've stretched that line, and I think I'm kind of over it. So if they just want to kick her whole character out of the movie, out of the universe, I'm
Kill
okay
her
with
off
that.
in
Like
some way.
I'm okay with that. Let Jason Momoa carry the series. We don't need Amber Heard. We don't need a love interest. We just need action, story, Jason Momoa, Aquaman. We don't need a love interest. It's just not needed at all. So, in my opinion, if they kick her out of the movie, it is perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Because, like I said, she could have done a lot better in this role. So I'm thinking if you are gonna bring her back in Aquaman 2, just kill her off in the first scene. You know, just kind of make all the fans happy at the start. Then Aquaman 2 will probably be one of the only sequels that will get heavily praised. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly. All right. Next up, news just hit last night that our spin-off of James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie, it hasn't quite come out yet, but they greenlit a spin-off because they're super psyched about it. I'm just going to jump in here with it. So, Peacemaker is the title of the HBO Max series starring James Gunn and Steve Agee as Peacemaker, and Steve Agee's gonna reprise his role as King Shark. So we're gonna get a little King Shark in there. Basically, who Peacemaker is, he wants to make peace at whatever cost, whoever he has to kill, whoever he has to go through to get there. He's wild, he's crazy, he's R-rated, and it's gonna be a one heck of a gory time. Noah, why don't you walk us through the new cast that just got released last night?
All right, but also, can we just talk about who else could play Peacemaker but John Cena?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is on a cereal box for kids, right? And he's like a role model to children with this never give up stuff in wrestling.
It's
like,
true.
who else can you picture as this guy who wants peace around, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I find it funny. Like, he fits the role so well. Like, not just the character, but in his real life, like, actions, he fits Peacemaker so well. And it's just crazy to me how honestly, he's doing like what Dwayne Johnson did. Like, now that he's playing a superhero, like, Dwayne Johnson's supposed to come out as Black Adam. Now John Cena's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna make another 10 million. Like, you know?
Stick it to Johnson there a little. Yeah, why not? And then I'm so psyched about James Gunn. He's writing the series. He'll direct most episodes. But if you guys saw the Suicide Squad featurette that they shot at for Disney Fandom, or sorry, not Disney, DC Fandom. All right, easy, but I know. But in any case, James Gunn was praised for his writing, was praised for his humor, his sense of direction and creative style. So I'm so psyched that he is heading up this series. But that's my little contribution. Go ahead, Noah, I'll cut you off.
Yeah, and you can't help but trust James Gunn with a series like this. Like,
that's so true.
You've seen the success of Guardians of the Galaxy. Like that's like a heavily praised Marvel movie.
Yeah, Guardians is my favorite film of all time. All time. So that's telling something.
Like it's just art. Like, he knows what comedy is. He knows how to not overdo it. Because, like, there's some movies that overdo comedy, and over time it gets a bit boring. But with James Gunn, he finds a way to make it interesting. Exactly. Like, his scripts are just amazing. And the way he put the direction towards the actors, it's like phenomenal. And that's why I have high hopes for this Peacemaker series. And I have a little bit of high hopes for Suicide Squad, because I didn't really like the first one. Because, you know, like, it's kind of like the Spider-Man 3 Tobey Maguire series. Like, if you put too many villains in, like, it's just, what are you gonna do, right?
Exactly, and it was all studio-driven, apparently. So the director, whose name is just leaving my brain, but the director of the Suicide Squad movie that we have gotten, he said that Warner Brothers kind of, like, messed with it a lot. Like, it was like originally it was just a dramatic movie. Like, there was no comedy in it. Mostly the comedy was coming from Harley Quinn. She was the comic relief. Everyone else was supposed to be super serious, super, like, got their own story going on. No one else was supposed to be comedic. It's just her. So they wanted to turn it into a comedy action movie, and it didn't work. It just didn't. So what happened was James Gunn's like, all right, well, I can take that, but I want no studio interference. And guess what? DC gave him like 100% total creative control. So my hopes for this Suicide Squad movie are through the friggin' roof, man.
Yeah. All right, now back to these actors.
Yeah.
So their names are just slipping through my head, but they just recently got cast, but if I recall, we don't know exactly who they're playing yet.
Yeah, so Robert Patrick, who you might know from Terminator Judgment Day, he played the bad guy many moons ago. He's an older guy now, but he's playing some guy named Augie Smith. We have no idea who the heck he's playing, but usually he plays villains, and he plays them really well. So I think we're going to see him as a villain in this show. Then next up is Jennifer Holland. She's playing Amelia Harcourt, who is also a character in the Suicide Squad movie, who we just have no idea who she's playing. And then Noah, why don't you walk us through the last guy here?
All right, so tell me his name again.
I have no idea who the actor's name is.
Okay, well, anyway, so this guy recently got cast as this kind of anti-hero type character called Vigilante.
Yeah.
And I did research before this podcast. Apparently, the last comic book of Vigilante came out in, I believe it said 1990. So it's been a while since we've seen this character like come to life. So I wonder, because like I'm sure this character to some of you is gonna be like a mysterious type. Because I don't know the origin story of it. Like honestly, I've never heard of this Vigilante character, and I'm curious to see if James Gunn like goes over the comics, obviously, because that's what every superhero movie does. It goes through like comic books and like how they act. I wonder if he's gonna like switch that up a bit, like maybe because looking at the comic book here, he looks kind of serious. Like he has an all blacked out suit. Like in a way, he kind of looks like Cyclops from the X-Men series because he's kind of got that like those red glasses and stuff. So I'm thinking, maybe. I wouldn't say comic relief, like maybe he's going to be the more serious character in the story, but that's just me. And I'm actually very interested to see like what direction they go with this character, because I think it looks cool.
Yeah, personally, I think he's going to be someone from Peacemaker's past, like they were once partners in crime or something, because it just fits so well. Or I'd love to see him as the villain of the show. Chris Conrad, that's the name of the actor. Chris Conrad.
Okay.
Just got to me. Yes. Anyway, Vigilante, we actually saw him appear in Arrow of season 5 or 6 or something like that, I want to say. He was a really big, he wasn't super big part of it. He wasn't more or less a villain. He was just kind of, all right, I'm here. I'm going to wreak havoc for a second, and I'll see you next season. That's literally what happened. I watched Arrow for a good run of its time. I stopped watching around season 7 because I got bored of it. I'll be honest. It was really good up until that point. But we saw Vigilante come in for a little bit, but they didn't give him what he deserved. So I'm really excited for this series. Next up, Noah, why don't you walk us through the huge news here?
Okay, so moving on here, we got actual set photos of the Spider-Man 3 movie. And as you can see, like, I'm sure all of you have seen it at this point, but it's pretty much Tom Holland, and he's wearing a mask, because, you know, COVID rules. But if you notice in the picture, I'm wondering what they're standing on, which, to me, looks like kind of like a plane wing. So maybe, they're going back in the timelines to where Spider-Man took on the Vulture. And also, a question is, who is the character behind him, this, like, black curtain character? Is it Doctor Strange?
Oh, whoa, all right. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Holy cow. It could be, because I read somewhere, I didn't see any set photo, but I read somewhere that the makeup artist was working on Benedict Cumberbatch's like face, so just a while ago for this prepping for Spider-Man 3 because he's in the movie. That very well could be Doctor Strange. I didn't even think of that. Holy, how long you been sitting on that? Jeez.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think it's totally plausible that the Spider-Man set photo, I think that is a plane. It's got to be a plane wing. Like
what else could it be? Or
what
could it
else
be like
looks like that?
Like the Shield aircraft? Like what else could that be?
It could be the helicarrier. They got like blue screen in the background, but you could see that they're off the ground by a fair bit, like a couple feet for sure. So I think it's a plain wing, but I also think it might be like one of those early movie action set pieces to kind of rope you into the movie, get you all hyped for it. So that's what I think it is. But the Doctor Strange thing, that very well could be him, because I think I remember him wearing something like that in the first Doctor Strange movie. So that's actually a very good guess. Moving on. Let's keep in the spirit of Marvel here. WandaVision actress Teyonah Parris. She recently came out and started talking about the WandaVision TV show. She plays the grown-up version of Monica Rambeau, the little girl we saw in the Captain Marvel movie. She was an awesome part of that movie, in my opinion, the only great part of that movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only good part of the movie.
But yeah, no, this is her all grown up. She's working for SWORD, the SWORD space station we saw at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. If you stuck around for those post-credit scenes, like a classic Marvel fan would, true Marvel fan would. But yeah, she came out and she started talking about it. She says it's a full-on action movie mixed with sitcoms. It's wild. It's wild. That's what she had to say about it. And I think I agree. Like, moving from sitcoms, like a live studio audience, to some full-out action movie, like, holy cow, that does sound like a wild ride. The trailer makes no sense, but it's mind-bending and it's weird, and I'm so excited for it. Next up, Noah, why don't you walk us through this world record news?
Okay, so what's her name again?
Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet. So they are filming the Avatar 2 movie, and recently they have came out and said that she was able to hold her breath underwater for 7 minutes, and this surpasses Tom Cruise's record for, what is it, 6 minutes?
Yeah, so he had 6 minutes on Mission Impossible Rogue One.
That's crazy
Nuts.
To me.
So bonkers, but she did it. She beat the world record. For some reason, she did it without scuba gear and her stunt team.
What?
Because Kate Winslet's getting up there in age, so like, good for her for taking on this challenge. I mean,
she must have lungs of steel.
Honestly,
something.
If you've seen like the set photo here, you can see on her nose that she's got like this nose plug. Like, it's like very, very there. And I'm just thinking to myself, how are you doing that? Like, that's...
Yeah, exactly.
That must have been like super scary, in my opinion. I don't think I could ever do that. So good for her.
No. That's why stunt doubles are a thing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, right? Take your stunt double. For Pete's sake, stop trying to surpass freaking Tom Cruise, who's a nutcase in his own manner. But good for Kate Winslet. This news actually surprised me, because I personally don't know Winslet from anything of her movies, so
no.
this was just cool to see. All right. Moving on, we have The Witcher. We're talking about The Witcher series. If you've ever seen season 1, I personally haven't, but my family tells me it's fantastic. It's super action-packed. Did you watch it, Noah?
I've watched about 3 episodes, and then I got bored. I do praise Henry Cavill's performance, though. I think he does a fantastic job. Like, there's no denying he's the best part of the show, and the only good part of the show, kind of. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's watchable. Like, I'll give you that. But anyways,
yeah,
so
go ahead,
it was being filmed in England, and then they were moving the production to studio, but 5 days later, one person out of the filming team was tested positive for COVID. So the production is currently halted, and I'm not sure of the date where they're going to start filming again, but I wouldn't say it's for a good while. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
season 2 has been backed up.
Yeah, the entire cast now has to quarantine for 2 weeks. Like, that's going to be so annoying. Like, the cast, the crew, the director, everyone has to quarantine, and it's going to be super annoying. But this is just awful because, like, can we just follow the path of events here? So filming in England, everything's awesome. Okay, then Boris Johnson comes out. He's like, nope, we're locking everything down. And like, oh, fine, we'll move to studio. So they go to studio, crack out the green screens and everything. Everything's set up. But 5 days later, the team tests positive. Now production's halted. Now they all have to quarantine. And now no one knows when this series is coming out. Ah, how annoying would that be? Next up.
Well,
oh, sorry. Go ahead. You had a point.
no, it was just a joke. I'm like, well, I guess Henry Cavill's paycheck is on hold right now.
He's got to. And you know what's the funny thing about that is he had to give up being in the Snyder cut of Justice League so he could film his Witcher scenes. His schedule didn't work out with that, so now he's got to quarantine for 2 weeks over something like he could have avoided by just doing the Snyder cut, being Superman for a couple weeks. So it's ironic. It's ironic. But next up is a bit of a smaller news thing, but we thought we'd throw it in there. Tenet. If you ever watched Tenet, it's super crazy. I can't explain the plot to you, not because I can't,
it's very
not
confusing.
because I want to, but I can't. It's just crazy. It was a great movie. I loved it. Great action set pieces, but what the heck is going on? In any case, it's moving to Blu-ray December 15th. Next up, Noah,
maybe a Christmas gift.
Maybe a Christmas gift, yeah. Why don't you walk us through what happened?
Okay, so Jeopardy has lost a legend. What was it? Yesterday, 2 days ago?
A couple days back, yeah.
Yeah, so the host of that show has passed away, unfortunately, due to stage 4
pancreatic cancer.
Pancreatic cancer.
It's Alex
like
Trebek. He's been doing that show a long time.
I know. It was like what was it? 1942 to 2020. He's lived that
1940 to 2020 is how long he lived.
Yeah,
he was 80.
That is a crazy thing to me.
Yeah,
like my family watched this show. Like especially my grandfather. He's watched this show since he was like a teenager. He loved it, and I'm sure like to hear something like this, it just breaks my heart. So to all of the fans, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he the executive producer of the show came out and on Jeopardy took to the stage, and Alex Trebek had literally filmed to the end. So past couple weeks he's filmed a ton of episodes, so they're going to be releasing those final episodes because Alex, it was in his will, Trebek wants those episodes released. So good for Alex for going as long as he did. I remember when he got diagnosed last year for pancreatic cancer in March 2019, I want to say. So he got diagnosed, and everyone thought he was going to beat it, and he actually made it like 2 years. So good for him for lasting as long as he did. But yeah, anyway, let's get a little more upbeat here. Some good news. Finally, some good news. Jurassic World Dominion, they finally wrapped production. Get this. This is probably one of the longest productions of any movie I've ever heard of. An 18-month production. That's a year in 5 months, right? Hold on. No. Right? No. 6 months.
Do the math.
I did it. I did it. A year and a half is what it took them to film this movie. And I'm so psyched for it because director Colin Trevorrow came out and said it made for a stronger movie. Now, what does that mean? Generally, that means like story, or maybe like the cast got more time to read the scripts, or what?
Oh, I'm pretty sure they got more time to read the scripts if it took 18 months.
Yeah. So maybe their characters, the performances are a little bit better than they would have been. But let's take a look at the cast here. So we actually have returning cast from the original Jurassic Park movie. So we got Laura Dern. She's an Academy Award-winning actress. She actually just won at the Oscars last year for Best Supporting Actress. Anyway, but she played the lady, I forget her name, in the original Jurassic Park movie, which is awesome to see her come back. And then Sam Neill, who played Alan Grant, the protagonist in the Jurassic Park movie. The OG is coming back for this. I'm so excited. Like, I'm sorry. And then Jeff Goldblum, who's playing Dr. Ian Malcolm again. Sorry, I'm a Jurassic Park nerd. My ringtone for my phone is a Jurassic Park theme song. Like, that's just how attached to this I am. I love the Jurassic World movies. Wasn't super crazy about Fallen Kingdom, but in any case, I love them all in their own little ways. And Jeff Goldblum is a surprising and hilarious and amazing add to this movie. Noah, why don't you walk us through the devastating news here?
So, the Mortal Kombat movie has been backed up at the moment. Instead of being released on March of 2021, which was the first release date, it is now pushed to next year. And I cannot tell you how angry that makes me. I've been waiting for a Mortal Kombat movie to be remade for 16 years! It has been so long. I want to see Scorpion rip someone's head off in this good CGI we have today. I want to see, like, fatalities would look so good in this day and age. Like, the CGI effects and, like, I'm just so mad. Like, hopefully the team gets off their butt and starts filming again, because I am really looking forward to this movie. Mortal Kombat is by far my favorite video game franchise of all time, and it's devastating to hear that the actual movie for it is getting backed up. And even counting the fact that, like, the director and screenwriter, like the script writer has come out and said, this is going to be the best video game movie you will ever watch. And you know what? I could probably agree with it. I could. Not because I'm biased, but because I want it. Anyway, moving on.
You all right? Do the breather?
Yeah. Cameron, can you explain this for a second?
Yeah, so next up, I'm not like super passionate about that. It's gonna be hard to follow up what you just did, but I'm gonna try. So just for kicks, this isn't really movie news, but it came as a shock to me when I read about the Avengers game. I actually bought it myself. The new Avengers game that came out in this summer, I want to say, something like that.
I think so.
Yeah, so Square Enix dumped millions of dollars into this game. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions into this game. And personally, I found it pretty fun, like the campaign and everything, but the devastating news to Square Enix is that they lost $63 million on this game because they only sold 3 million copies. I'm not sure what the recommended amount was to get past that 63 million mark to break even, but they didn't even come close. People stop playing this game. They keep trying to add things to keep people in the loop. But personally, I haven't played this game for maybe a week or two now. I found it super fun, but then it just kind of dropped off because the campaign was not long, which sucked. The characters were fun to play as in their own rights. But at the same time, I'm not surprised that they lost out on money here because their marketing sucked. No one was interested. They messed up Captain America's look. I'm sorry, but he looks terrible. He needs a new look. I mean, he doesn't even... The way he looks right here is the way he looks in the first 20 minutes of the game, and then he doesn't look like that anymore. He wears like the Winter Soldier outfit the rest of the time. Wow. So, marketing was terrible. I thought the performances were really well done by the actors. I thought they were actually really good, like Oscar worthy, if that. But you can't get Oscars for video games anyway. Just trying to keep the movie news here alive. Anyway, yeah, but I was really hyped about this game. I bought it with my little brother, and we split the cost on it. He lost interest really quickly. I tried to keep it alive, but it doesn't surprise me. It just doesn't.
That's a shame to hear. And I was going to buy this game, actually, but now hearing the opinion of that, I don't know.
It's not worth it.
Like, honestly, all right, you want to know what I think would have helped sales?
What's that?
if they actually got the facial like features of the actual like actors, like Chris Evans as Captain America or Robert Downey Jr. is like that. Something like that would probably sell more because they have the star's face on, not these like Thor. He looks like Santa Claus. Like I gotta tell you, Hulk is probably the only one that looks like this actual movie counterpart. Yeah. But that's because he's a CGI like monster.
That's true. Like you can literally copy paste that. You can try to do your own original drawing, but it'll end up looking like a copy paste. So it doesn't surprise me.
Also, where is Hawkeye?
I know. Yeah, that was awful. They cut Hawkeye out of the game for Kamala Khan to be introduced instead. Because I love Hawkeye. He would have made this game so much better. And there's a couple DLCs coming out for this game, which includes Hawkeye, but it's not actually Hawkeye. It's his sidekick, this chick. I forget her name, but it's not our actual Hawkeye, which sucks. Like, at least give us Ronin or something. But
yeah, exactly.
In any case, that is the movie news for the week and a little bit of the month. So this is a bit of a smaller podcast, folks, but we appreciate you listening.
Yes. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic day. Expect another podcast to be out next week. We will be teasing that on our social media platforms, so watch out for that. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, all.